Did you know that our humanistic and atheistic educational system is designed to indoctrinate your children and lead them to hell? In this lesson, we will discuss the next mountain of culture. Similar to the mountain of science and technology, the mountain of philosophy and education is an idolatrous altar designed to indoctrinate America's youth with humanistic and atheistic ideologies. This mountain is particularly attractive to those like myself who are given to knowledge and wisdom. The fear of the Lord. God doesn't oppose knowledge and wisdom. In fact, He's all for it. It only becomes a problem, as in all mountains of culture, when we forget God. Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So the fear of the Lord is the foundation, or the ABCs, if you will, of knowledge. Without it, it doesn't matter how much a person has been educated. They are nothing more than an educated fool if they reject the fear of the Lord and the knowledge of God. Education system roots. Amazingly, the fear of the Lord was part of the standard curriculum of students early in America's history. When the church controlled the educational system, it built in the fear of the Lord. You would be absolutely amazed at what elementary children learned in school. For example, those who were just learning the ABCs in the New England Primer used concepts from the Bible to teach the alphabet. Here's an example. A. In Adam's fall, we sinned all. B. Heaven to find, the Bible mind. C. Christ crucified, for sinners died. D. The deluge drowned the earth around. E. Elijah hid, by ravens fed. F. The judgment made Felix afraid. So they developed an ingenious system of incorporating the Bible and biblical principles throughout the daily lessons. Now, of course, humanists would say that this would produce an inferior education. But in actuality, when you acknowledge the creator of the universe, you build the fear of the Lord into children, and this enables them to soar in all areas of academics. This is why it was not uncommon in those days for a young person as young as 15 or 16 years old to be in college. Speaking of Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, who were taken into Nebuchadnezzar's court, the Bible shows the difference between secular and Christian education. Daniel 1:18-20, New Living Translation. When the training period ordered by the king was completed, the chief of the staff brought all the young men to King Nebuchadnezzar. The king talked with them, and no one impressed him as much as Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the royal service. Whenever the king consulted them in any matter regarding wisdom and balanced judgment, he found them 10 times more capable than any of the magicians and enchanters in his entire kingdom. Secular versus Christian education. But once the state took over the educational process in America, it was all downhill from there. In fact, the downward progression can be seen in every way imaginable, from failing test scores to violence and promiscuity in school, to hopelessness and suicide. In every way that America's school system can fail, it has failed. But why? Very simple. Radical left progressive agenda that has hijacked the law. How? In the 1950s and 60s, America was still very much a God-fearing nation. So the radicals knew that they had no chance of having legislation drafted and approved through our legislative process to remove God from schools. So they very shrewdly got 5 progressive judges on the Supreme Court to side with them and bypass the Constitution and the legislative process. So in 1962, the Supreme Court removed the right to pray in school. Now, 60 years later, after God has been removed from schools in America, we have an unrecognizable dystopia where it's not uncommon to hear about mass shootings in schools. All of this is connected. When you take God out and remove his morality, you are left with a strictly secular society where anything goes and children are taught that they can be whatever gender they want to be. They're taught about the virtues of sexual deviance. They're taught to hate their country and despise its virtues. While inner city children are stuck in failing schools that produce one generation after another of functionally illiterate graduates. So in every way possible, the educational system in America has spectacularly failed. Why? Because they have forsaken the God of the Bible. Do you think it's time for a change? Do you think it's time to get back to the fear of the Lord? I would say it's high time.